Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Thursday, and we've got to talk about the He-Man and Masters of the Universe live action movie, about the casting choices, and all the news that we know so far. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so we have to talk a little bit about the Masters of the Universe live action movie, this new He-Man movie that's coming out, because I haven't gotten a chance to talk a whole lot about this. However, a lot more news and casting has been coming out in recent weeks, so I wanted to break down what we know so far and let you know what I think and how I think this could be a hit and what I think they would do to make it a miss. So let's kind of look first at the casting. Now, Jared Leto is the latest to be cast, and he is going to be playing Skeletor in the Masters of the Universe. Now, this comes from the Hollywood Reporter and a bunch of other sources. At this point, it has been confirmed. This is only the beginning, because you might remember that Sam C. Wilson was cast as Trapjaw. Hathor Bjornsson, and I know I mispronounced that name, plays Goatman. Kojo Atta, and I probably mispronounced that name as well, is Triclops. And then Allison Brie of Glow fame and some of that has been cast as Evil Lyn. As for He-Man himself, Nicholas Galatizine has been cast, and I probably mispronounced that name. Idris Elba has been cast as Man-at-Arms, while Camila Mendes has been cast to play Teela. Now, this is kind of a strange casting choice to a lot of people, putting Idris Elba as Man-at-Arms while his daughter Teela is played by Camila Mendes. Now, I'm going to get into that in a second, why that works and why people shouldn't be upset about it. But let's go to exactly who's directing this. Bumblebee director Travis Knight is directing this movie and will be working from a script written by fellow Lakia creative Chris Butler, who directed the animated film Paranorman. Now, you may not know this, but several years ago, when Paranorman came out, I did in fact see that movie at the theater. I went to go see it and had the privilege of sitting in that movie and watching that movie probably as it was intended. It was a very good movie, and it's one that I think is a little underrated. It's not one I talk about on this channel as being underrated because it's more of a children's movie, and if you like it, then yes, you know what I'm talking about. It definitely had the quirkiness of something that you would expect from a director like Tim Burton, only this wasn't a Tim Burton movie, and that's kind of what made it work for me. Now, to see him directing this is something I didn't expect. But this will be the second live-action He-Man movie, because you might remember the first one starred Dolph Lundgren as He-Man. And that one had a Man-at-Arms and a Teela. But every other character in it was pretty much new characters, because Skeletor, of course, you had in the movie, and he was played by Frank Langella, who did such an amazing job as Skeletor that I don't think that a lot of people realize how great of a job he did. Because now, even after all these years, if you watch the two of these films back to back, there's going to be comparisons. So Jared Leto has got to be amazing in this movie. And the thing is, the last time I talked about He-Man was when I talked about Masters of the Universe Revelation. And I personally didn't hate that series, but that series got a whole lot of hate when it came on Netflix. In fact, that was one of the first videos I did where I got hate comments from people down below. And I was not shocked I got him because I was defending something that a lot of people were very divisive on at the time. But that's kind of become the norm on this channel because I talk about things in a positive way and I talk about things that I think are going to work from a show, they're going to work from a series, a movie, or whatever. I talk about the positiveness of it. And I try to leave all those negative vibes behind. If I don't like a project at all, and I can't say anything nice about it, and there still are some that I just refuse to talk about on our channel, but not many. If I can't say something nice about a project, then I just don't talk about it at all. Now, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Revelation was very much kind of that divisive show. Now, we recently got Masters of the Universe Revolution, but we're here to talk about this movie because the casting choice of Teela and Man-at-Arms is leaving some people kind of confused. But what you have to realize, he is in fact her adopted father in a lot of the He-Man canon. So it really doesn't change anything about their relationship. Now, we have to talk about the casting of Jared Leto as Skeletor because this is casting I've seen a lot of people have a problem with, and I've seen a lot of people talking trash about the actor. And I find Jared Leto to be an amazing actor. Just some of his choices in movies haven't been all that amazing. And it hasn't even been his choice in movies because some of those movies should have been more great than they actually turned out. Morbius should have been a really fun movie and should have worked, but the script just wasn't up to par. I think that he made an excellent Morbius, and I think he did a great job. And then you also have the fact that he was probably the most divisive Joker. Now, of course, there are people that want that special cut to be released, that director's cut, where they get the scenes that were cut out, which apparently there were tons of scenes cut out of that movie, where Jared Leto got a chance to shine as the Joker in a lot more ways than you ever expected. He was supposed to be absolutely amazing in the part, but we didn't get to see that movie. Now, what we did get to see is a pretty good performance by him, although I see why a lot of people didn't like it. Myself included in a lot of ways, I didn't feel that it really hit home the way they intended it to. My biggest problem with Jared Leto's Joker is not in fact Jared Leto's fault. My biggest problem with his performance comes from the script. And not just any script. Now, I love the Snyder Cut. I love the Snyder Cut of Justice League. I think it's an amazing piece of work. It definitely showcased what could have been in this darker, more gritty universe that we could have gotten. And it would have been a lot more fun to see it continue on. But there's one scene that I hate with a passion of 1,000 fires. And that scene is at the end when Batman and the Joker are talking. And if you know what I'm talking about. The words that are coming out of the Joker's mouth are so atrocious and so disgusting that I can't even get behind the reason for that being in the script. It's the only element of the Snyder Cut that ever really took me out of it and made it so that I don't watch that movie on a regular. But that's not Jared Leto's fault. And then you look at some of the other work that Jared Leto has done. He is an award-winning actor. He can probably do this role justice, but the script has got to be there. Now, that being said, how could this movie work? How could this movie be good? Because this movie has to be amazing. In order for this casting to work, in order for all the things they're doing to work, this movie's got to be amazing. And the simple way that it could be amazing is if they don't copy and paste the Dolph Lundgren movie, number one. And I don't think they're going to do that. I think we're on a much higher budget than Canon Films. I think that we can actually do this. It's not going to be a low budget filmmaker making the movie. I think this is going to be something that can work. Now, that being said, there are elements of that movie that work too. If you take how they made Eternia look, you could have something. I think we definitely need to spend the movie on Eternia and not go anywhere else. They need to not take it to other places, number one. They need to make sure that He-Man works as a character. He needs to be believable. He needs to be cool. He needs to be the hero we want. And then you can't make the villains cheesy. In this particular case, being comic book accurate is going to hurt this film a lot because you can't make it like the cartoon. You've got to take a few liberties here and there. I'm not saying make it dark or change the vibe of it at all. It can still resemble the cartoon, but with a little darker tone. All they have to do is make sure that Jared Leto is not informed to use that Skeletor voice. Make Skeletor his own. Make Skeletor work for him. Just like the guy who plays He-Man cannot copy and paste someone else's performance. He's got to make it his own. I think if they do this with a good script, with a script where we get to see some battles between He-Man and Skeletor that are believable, with some of the other people that are believable, because this definitely has more of a cast than the Dolph Lundgren version had. This looks like it's going to be more interesting. So let's make it more interesting. Let's give us battles that rival the big budget movies like Transformers. And you can say what you want about Transformers, but when you're sitting there in the film and watching Michael Bay movies and the explosions come up on the screen, you know that you're getting something that cost a lot to make, that was a big budget, that was actually fun to do, and that they are having a good time. And the actors having a good time goes a long way as well. So when you're looking at the movie, it needs to be something that's fun for the actors, that's fun for the audience, something that builds this world. That's the other thing. It has to build a world. If we're going to get more movies about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe in this universe that they're going to create, then it's going to have to paint a vivid picture of the world that they live in. It's going to have to paint a vivid picture of everything that they stand for. So I know I haven't gotten a chance to talk about this movie yet, but I've been waiting for some of these casting choices to come, and I think that what they've got so far looks pretty solid. I think this could be a very interesting movie. But that, my friends, is where I am going to leave it off to you guys. I want to know what you guys are thinking about this. Have you heard this casting news? Any of it? Of course you probably have, but what did you think of it? Do you think that Jared Leto is a good choice for Skeletor? And what about some of the other casting choices? Do you think that they're great? Or do you think that this is going to be a major disappointment at the box office? Do you think that this was a mistake? Because it has been a long time coming for us to get a He-Man movie. It has been something that's been in the works for years and years. Does the casting of this movie make you think the wait was worth it or not? As always, we want to know what you guys think, so make sure you are leaving us that comment in the comment box below, letting us know what you think. Don't forget to share the video with all of your friends so they could be a part of this crazy conversation as well. And then don't forget to hit that like button. It's free, it helps the channel, and we really do appreciate it. And then Miko says we need more subscribers. And look at this face. You don't want to disappoint Miko. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell while you're down there so you don't miss a single video we do. And then friends, at the end of the day, I know it, you know it, and Miko knows it. Fandom is family.